Hello. Um, I'm bored, so I'm gonna make this video talking about every RPG I've played. 'Cause why not? It's fun. I like this genre a lot. If you couldn't tell, and I have lots of opinions that I think could be interesting as a little like background noise or something. So, there's that. So, I don't really know how to start this. I'm just gonna start talking. I've ordered them from like completed to uncompleted but played enough to form an opinion on it because I feel like you can gain an opinion from like playing an RPG for a good amount of time and actually completing it, because sometimes you start a game and then you just don't have the motivation to complete it, or like you just didn't like it that much so you didn't want to complete it, or you just had a game that you really liked but you just didn't have time to complete. So I feel like it's fair to rank those games alongside the ones I've completed as well. So uh, I'm not really gonna go in order. I'm just gonna pick a random one. Well, I guess let's get the obvious out of the way. Chrono Trigger is my favorite RPG of all time. There's nothing really that ever came close. It was one of those situations where like once I beat it, I the first thing I wanted to do was beat it again. And like ever since then, I've been looking for an RPG that could really like kind of rival the experience I got from playing Chrono Trigger. And there's games that have gotten close, but like I don't think there was ever going to be a game that could replicate that magic of Chrono Trigger for the first time, because that game is perfect. The dual techs are so much fun, the combat's so much fun, the characters are really good, story is really good. What else is to say about Chrono Trigger that hasn't already been said? Um, it's just a good game. Uh, I don't know, man. And I think let's talk about the game that I think that got closest to getting that Chrono Trigger feel was Final Fantasy VI, and I think I'm just gonna start out with the two of my favorites first, because Final Fantasy VI is like a masterpiece of a game. I think, God, I Final Fantasy 6 and 7 is so hard for me because it really like depends on the day which one I like more. I'm not gonna rank 7 yet because I still want to like sit on it for a bit and see where I feel about it, because there's parts I like about 7 that I like more than the 6, and there's parts I like 6 more than 7. So I don't really know. I'll sit on it, but like Final Fantasy 6 is like obviously like everyone considers it one of the best RPGs of all time, which it is. Kind of similar reasons to Chrono Trigger. The story is honestly, I think, better than Chrono Trigger, but I think the characters are better in Chrono Trigger. The combat's more fun in Chrono Trigger, but Final Fantasy has that soundtrack, and like, oh man, I don't know, but I do think I like Chrono Trigger more, because Chrono Trigger is just like magic, man. Yeah, I don't know. So I think these two are pretty self-explanatory. Like I think there's not really any arguing that like these are anywhere but top tier, unless you're like a big Final Fantasy or Square hater. So I guess let's talk about something that isn't Square for a sec. Let's talk about a Pokemon game, I guess, in which I will start with Gen 2. Um I first played Gen 2 when it came out on the 3DS eShop, and I played Pokemon Silver. They don't have Silver specifically on this tier list, but Gen 2 is kind of the same. Crystal is basically a better version. So either way, it's going to be the same opinion whatever version I play. So I'm going to put it in. I'm going to do some shuffling later, but I'm going to put it in just alright. I know Gen 2 is pretty like, I don't know, because I know the consensus back then. Oh, by the way, for like I'm considering like the remakes of these games too. Like I know, like I have Alpha Sapphire here over or Emerald here, but I think these two are kind of like different experiences almost. But like Gen 2 is mostly the same, so I'm accounting the remakes for this one. There was like a period of time where like it feels like people are saying like Heart Gold Soul Silver was the best Pokemon game, which like I kind of like felt like oh yeah, I kind of agree, even though I never played it, and I still haven't played it to completion. The only way I've beaten Gen 2 is through is through the Virtual Console on 3DS, and I think it is all right. The level curve is really really bad in that game. Like most of your Pokemon are gonna be level 40 peak for the rest of the game, and that's not really fun to me. I don't know. It was like that in Gen 1, but like Gen 1 was such like a short game that didn't really like matter too much. But Gen 2 has like it has Kanto in it as well, and like even so, you get like no experience in Kanto. So like you get every gym leader who's like hanging around like 30s, 40s, and then you get Red who's hanging around 70s and 80s. It doesn't feel like right to me. And I think it goes to show like the only way I could like keep like a balanced level in my original team. My original team was Feraligatr, like Ampharos, and base Eevee. Yeah, I like telling that story a lot because you know Eevee. I brought just Eevee to the Elite Four. That's one of my favorite teams ever. I don't know, it was fun. But yeah, I think it's all right. I might move it up. I don't think it's go any lower than all right. If I'm being honest, but Gen 2 is all right. I think it's a good time. I have played a little bit of Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but from what I can tell, it doesn't really fix a lot of the problems that I have with Gen 2, especially the level curve. That's like the big thing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess next up, who's next on the chopping block? Mm, Mario RPG. Mario RPG is a good game. It's a good fun time. I don't know what else to say. I need to like think about what I want to say about it. The combat's pretty good. I think. Ah, jeez. Do I like it more than Mario and Luigi? I don't think so. I kind of similar to like Heart Gold, Soul Silver. This was kind of like hailed as like a really like hidden gem RPG, which like it sort of is. Like, well, maybe not so much anymore after the remake is out. I should clarify. I played the SNES version. Um, I think it's all right. It's a fun time. It's a fun Mario romp. It's definitely what you get if you took Mario and you gave Square Enix to make a Mario RPG. It's exactly that. The story is pretty cool. I like the characters. I like Bowser's characterization a lot. It's really fun. And then obviously you have Geno, who's just awesome. I think that's my favorite part of this game is actually the party. I like messing around with the party a lot because it's like you got enough party members to like have uniqueness, but you also like don't have too little where it feels like there's one specific like best party or whatever. And I think that's really fun. I kind of wish though that you could swap out Mario for another party member, cause I'm kind of gonna contradict myself right here because you're always gonna have Mario. You're usually always gonna have Peach, so you're always gonna have like this like third party member as well, just like whatever you want. And it's that's probably not gonna be Mallow, unless you're a big Mallow head. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's just a good RPG. I don't know if it's great. I think it's teetering on great, but I'm just gonna leave it in good for now, and we'll see where it gets us. Um, let's talk. What's some RPGs I beat recently? Let's talk about Pokemon Black 2. I think this is a great game. This is a fantastic game. I think this is probably the peak of 2D Pokemon. But I'm not actually sure if it's the peak of Pokemon. I'll explain why later with one of my other rankings. Because I think there's a game that kind of like rivals it in like goodness, but I think Pokemon Black 2 is a solid time. It's the most like, oh, what's the word? It's the most polished Pokemon game I think. Like they had an idea and they pulled it off perfectly, and I don't know. I just had a great time. This is the most recent Pokemon game I've completed, actually. Um, and I don't know. I think it was the most fun I had with Pokemon with a long time. I've been like pretty like jaded on the series after like Sword came out. I guess spoilers. I don't like Sword. I guess let's just put this right here. Listen, man. Like. I feel kind of like mean putting it down here because it's the cool thing they hate on Pokemon Sword, right? But Man, I was waiting till this game came out. I was so excited for the first freaking handheld, not handheld, home console Pokemon game. I didn't care about the Dex cut because like I was part of the camp like yeah, it was gonna happen anyway. And then people are complaining about like that one guy on YouTube, I forgot his name, but like he was complaining about the animations, and I didn't really care that much because the hell, I already went through like 3 generations of the same animations. Like who really cares? But like, ah man, and like I was just so disappointed. Like there's a lot of parts in the game where like it just doesn't feel right. It almost feels like it was rushed or something because there's like parts in the game where you go like, "Oh, like there's something happening. Holy shit." And we got to go stop it. But not you. You continue doing your gym challenge. Leon will do it for you. And I'm like, "What? No, I want to help. That's like part of the thing." Like you compare like I guess the a good way of saying it is like I think a lot of complaints towards Sun and Moon was that like, oh, where's the gyms? The gyms are gone, and then Game Freak realizes, oh, the gyms are back, so we gotta really focus on that they're back. So like, hey, protagonist or whatever, go and like, freaking do your gym challenge. That's really important. It's really important. You should become the champion. Oh, don't worry about all the other stuff. Yeah, there's like 3 million Gigantamax Pokemon happening. Don't worry, Leon will clean it up for you. It's like in other Pokemon games, what would happen? Let's take Pokemon X and Y for example. You take like you take like Team Flare is taking over the power plant, right? So you gotta trek through the desert to go over there, take a break from the gym challenge for a little bit, and go stop them. And like Pokemon X and Y is like not even like a highly regarded Pokemon game, and it still does that. And there's nothing to do with Sword other than the gym challenge. The dark type gym is a corridor. I should mention that the gyms aren't like great either. I don't know. And then the wild area sucks. It's not good. It was super disappointing. Okay, I will give props to the wild area though. It's like somewhat online capability was kind of cool. I kind of liked like running around with my friend in the wild area. That was fun. And then like we did the raid battles together. That was fun. Noah, if you're watching this, hi. I liked doing raid battles with you. It was the best part of Pokemon Sword. But I don't know. It just wasn't it. And again, I feel bad putting it down here because it's the cool thing to hate on Pokemon Sword. And I don't like hate a lot of games. I don't even think I hate Pokemon Sword. I just don't like it that much. I, I don't know, man. It's weird. I can definitely tell it was rushed in a lot of areas, and it was my least favorite. I think it's my least favorite Pokemon game for sure. Like even before that, I replayed X and Y, which is like before that it was considered like the weakest Pokemon game in my eyes. And I'm like, okay, well, I had a good time with that. I don't think I had a good time with Pokemon Sword. But I guess let's move on from that. I guess on the topic of Pokemon Y, I guess we're on a Pokemon streak right now. Pokemon Y, I think I'm a little bit biased towards it because I grew up with it, but like I can recognize that it's not that great. I think I can enjoy a playthrough of it more than Gen 2, personally. And I think it's just like the most alright Pokemon game, so I think this alright tier is perfectly where it is. And I'm not sure if that's like me being nostalgia blind or whatever, but I think it's just alright. I don't know. It is pretty easy though. It did introduce a lot of things that a lot of Pokemon fans don't like nowadays, like the EXP share or whatever, and like they give you like 3 free Pokemon that are really powerful. Like you get 2 starters and a Lucario that Mega evolves. So I don't know. I was gonna double check the recording to see if I'm still recording here, which I am. But let's talk about no, I'll leave the indie games for a little bit. Let's go through some quick ones. Final Fantasy 1 is a game I played a little bit, maybe like a quarter of the way through, and it's definitely the first Final Fantasy. I honestly I don't even know why it's here because I didn't play it so much. But I played the GBA version, and it's definitely an old school RPG. I think if I really like sat down and played it, I could probably find some enjoyment in it. I think it's just Meh. I think it's just meh. Like I was like 7 hours in, and it was all right. I don't know. And then I dropped the game because it was a little boring. I can definitely see how it can be super replayable with the whole like party customization. But I think there's a later Final Fantasy game here that does it a lot better. Ooh, we'll get to that later. Um, Actually, let's get into it right now. I think even though I didn't beat it, I got like, like I said, I got like halfway through it. But Final Fantasy V's like job system is really fun. The only reason I stopped playing Final Fantasy V is because I got busy with school, and I don't know, I didn't have the heart to pick it up again. But like the job system is so much fun. I love this. Like a big thing in my eyes is like customization in RPGs. That is one of the most fun things you can do. Like give me a cool customization where I can customize the characters and I'm like set. I should probably mention like the Esper system in FF6 is also great. Materia in FF7, junctioning in 8. I love it all. Like even junctioning. We'll get to that later. But Final Fantasy V's job system is like really fun to mess around with. I liked seeing what team compositions I can make and stuff. Especially like I kind of like fell in love with blue magic in this game. I think blue magic's really fun. Shoutouts to Galuf, the coolest old man in any RPG. But anyways, let's talk. Let's just like go through a couple I don't really care that much about. Partisan Time is all right. Again, I didn't beat it. You know what? I'm not even gonna rank it. I don't think I have enough playing experience to actually rank that game. I can rank Bowser's Inside Story though because I've beaten this game like 5 times. This game is one of the best. I think this, alongside Pokemon, was kind of like my gateway drug RPG. Bowser's Inside Story, one of the most fun combat ever in an RPG. The story is really, really good, surprisingly. I don't know how they pulled it off. Like, you ever wondered, like, what the Nintendo higher-ups are talking about? Like, oh, yeah, let's have a story that goes inside Bowser, and let's have it be, like, the best RPG ever. Not ever, but, like, I think it's the best Mario and Luigi game, and probably the best Mario RPG. I think it's not my favorite though, but my favorite one isn't even on this tier list that I found. My favorite is Super Paper Mario, and that's good. That would be going in my favorites. That game is like perfection. That story, man, holy. And I'm not sure if it's just like again me being nostalgia blind because I played it when I was a kid, but like that story changed me, man. I love that game, but it's not here, so I don't have to talk about it. I just thought I'd give it a little honorable mention here. I think now it's time to talk about some of the indie games. Let's talk about Off. I love Off. Off is really good, but I think its story is so good. It's like its vibes, its atmosphere is like really really good, but the gameplay isn't great. I love making this comparison with Off. Off is a lot like a work of art almost like. It's an RPG on the surface, but its main goal is to like showcase its meaning, like what it means to like, you know, yeah, you know, I'm so good at English, but like, you get what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be more of it's more of an experience than an RPG, I think, but I still think it is more fun than Pokemon Y. I'm gonna put Off in good. Because of that experience, that like vibe, its whole thing. I think it trumps over the gameplay because the gameplay is really brainless. Like it's so easy, but the story is really good. This like the art is really good. Everything being like hand drawn. There are some like kind of like, even like scary moments in this game, which is something I didn't expect, but it's good. It's really good. There's nothing else to say. It's free. I think it's kind of funny. I should have mentioned there's like on my modded 3DS. There's like an off port on 3DS, and every time I close the game, it crashes my 3DS. So that's kind of funny. It's short too, so like I don't know if there's on the off chance someone was watching this and hasn't played off and is actually interested, you should play it. It's like 8 hours long. It's not that long. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some more masterpieces here. Earthbound, Mother 2. This isn't my favorites, probably. Sorry if that burp came in on video, but Mother 2, Earthbound. I'm just gonna call it Earthbound, man. Um, I'm not sure it was as influential to me for other people, but like it's still like one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Like I think it still was influential to me in a way, but man, it's so good. Like this is a must play RPG in my opinion. If you haven't played it, do it. I'm not even gonna talk about it. You just should. I think I should stop rambling about every single game actually. So all I'm gonna say is Mother 2 good, Mother 3. I was about to go Mother 3 better. The story is a lot better, but it's balancing. I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, so I love Mother 3. Mother 3 is one of like I feel like I could say that for a lot of RPGs. It's one of the greatest RPGs of all time. But its balance is not great, in my opinion. Like there's parts like in chapter 3 when you're playing as Salsa and you're fighting like the cactus dog, which is not really fun. And then there's like after chapter 3, chapter 4, when you're playing as like just Lucas and Boney, and then you have to fight Jealous Space. That segment is really hard. uh, Forced me to grind a lot, which is not ideal. Like I don't mind grinding in an RPG, but like for just like one boss, I don't know. Like if I'm enjoying the RPG, I'm gonna go out of my way to grind, if you know what I mean. But in Mother 3, it kind of felt like I had to grind to move on, you know? Which I'm not that big of a fan of. I don't have that much time, man. And then there's like the barrier trio on Tane Tane Island. And then there's the chapter 7 masked man fight. I'm sorry, this is probably spoilers. But like it's really hard. I don't even know how you're supposed to beat it without grinding or without like save states or something. You better get like a degree in like musical understanding to like play this game, because you have to like listen to the beat of every single note for that fight. And even so, you can't do it because it's the masked man fight. So cool. But that story, it's like vibe. Oh my god. It's a Final Fantasy 7 versus Final Fantasy 6 situation with Mother 2 and Mother 3, because like on some days I prefer Mother 3, on some days I prefer Earthbound. So I'm gonna say what my heart's saying right now. I'm gonna say I prefer Mother 3, but that'll change on the day most likely. Um, let's talk quickly about Octopath 2. I got this game on Switch, and it was pretty alright. It looks gorgeous. I think it's probably like, no, I didn't beat this game. I don't even know how far I got into this game, but I sunk like a good 10 hours into this game, and I think it is a fun RPG. I think its mechanics are really good. I think the thing it prides itself most is probably its characters and its stories. Like, like 8 characters, and all the stories like converge, and I think that's a cool concept. I think it's really cool. So I'm gonna put it. I'm not sure if I can put it in good, because I haven't beaten it, right? But I think I will. I think if I were to have beaten it, I would have put it in good anyway, because from what I've like played of the game and what it like plays like, its story, its characters, I feel like I would have loved this game. But I dropped it. And I'll probably pick it up again one day, but not today. But just like knowing me, knowing myself, I know I would probably put it in good, because I do think it's good. I am gonna move like similar partners. I'm gonna move Octopath Traveler 1 out of the tier list, because I first played that game like years ago when it was on Xbox Game Pass. I didn't get that far, so I don't really remember much about it. So we're gonna leave it at that. Uh, there's a lot of Pokemon games, so I think it'll be better just to get them all out of the way first. So I guess let's talk about Pokemon for a good stretch of the while here. I'll try and go fast. Alpha Sapphire, I think, is the best remake, in my opinion, or just ORAS in general. It's gonna go up here because just like the things they changed, like yeah, sure, Battle Frontier is gone. Everyone's talked about it, but like the removal of the Battle Frontier, I think, doesn't like overshadow like all the other changes they made to this game, man. They added the Gen 6 features like Mega Evolutions. I remember being really young and like remembering like the Koro leaks of like the new Megas and stuff. And man, I had never been so excited in my life. It was like I was excited over Mega Beedrill. All these like Pokemon YouTubers talking about the news. Oh my god. And then like just the game itself is just good. It's Gen 3, already good. And then you just have like this, there's so much things to do. The Delta episode, I think itself is just incredible. It's one of the greatest post games Pokemon's ever had, in my opinion. Just like that story. Zinnia is like a fan favorite, and I agree. I like Zinnia a lot. I like how they added like more like Pokemon into Gen 3. Oh man, I love this game. And then like the nav features like Dex Nav or whatever. You got the Latios, you got the Eon ticket, you got the again what do you call it? The freaking Street Pass features where you can like the Eon ticket like spread across each other using Street Pass. That was so genius. The secret bases, man. The Blissey bases. I love that shit. I love ORAS. This is one of my favorite. I think to this day, I think ORAS is my most played game on my 3DS. I think so. And I think I enjoy it more than Black 2. I think Black 2 is a better game, just like from me. I think I have more better memories with ORAS. Like every day, me and my friend, we would like, well, not every day, but like every day we'd bring our 3DSs to like a meetup or something. We'd like fight, and then I have like trauma because he would always beat me. But I got back. But I think ORAS, it's not my favorite Pokemon game, but it's the one I hold like most dearest to me. I think my number one favorite Pokemon game is Ultra Sun. Or this is like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I will never understand the hate that Sun and Moon gets, or Gen 7 as a whole, because I think this was like kind of the last like really outstanding Pokemon generation. I think the setting is really good. Your Pokemon selection is really good. It had like most of the features from X and Y, but like better. It's got Pokemon Ami. It's got like the Pokepelago where you can get all the beans and stuff. You can like relax your Pokemon there, get a bunch of cool goodies. The story is good. I like the story a lot. I think the characters are so much fun. I like Guzma so much. I like Lusamine so much. I like freaking all the trial captains. The Pokemon in Alola are some of the most inspired designs, I think. Alola Executor, like it got flack back in the day, but I think it's one of the funniest Pokemon ever made. Just the Z moves are such a cool concept. It reminds me a lot of the Esper summons, or just summons in general for Final Fantasy, which are like slow but powerful moves. Man, the Pokemon they introduced in Alola are really good. Like, I will never understand how people say this is a bad game when it introduced so many like fan favorite like characters and Pokemon. But I think the thing it gets the most flack for is like it being like, oh, it's just like a cutscene over cutscene and stuff. But like, I don't know, man, I enjoy the story. and listen, this game is hard sometimes. This game is kind of difficult sometimes. The trial captains, like Totem Lurantis, is really tough. And like obviously Ultra Necrozma is the hardest boss in any of Pokemon, in my opinion. it's you have to have like really specific Pokemon to beat him. Otherwise, you struggle like hard. And then it's like a snowball effect. He gets one Pokemon down, and then he's stronger because the all like Beast Boost or whatever. And I think if people are complaining about like Pokemon being too easy, play this one. Play this one, right here. I guess really quickly I can touch on like just like Base Moon. That is red and blue. Base Moon is kind of worse Ultra Sun. I think as a concept, I like the boss Lucamine a lot more, but Necrozma's a lot better. Um, I think Base Moon is gonna go down here, because it feels like there's not much of a reason to play Base Sun and Moon anymore, now that you have Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And I do think that the changes that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon does makes it like 3 tiers better than regular Sun and Moon. I think we're almost done talking about Pokemon. I was talking about Heart Gold, Soul Silver earlier, how I think they're kind of the same as the Game Boy games, so I'm just going to put it above the Game Boy games. If you're going to play Gen 2, play Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It's the best version, without a doubt. But again, I only play the GameCube. GameCube. I only play the Game Boy version. Hold on, I'm like my voice is dry right now. I gotta take a drink of water. There you go. So I haven't actually beaten Emeralds. I got to like the 7th gym, and it's Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, all right. I think it's pretty good. I think it is a solid game. Probably right here. all of these Pokemon games are getting like lumped together right now, because I think this is the best Pokemon has to offer. I'm actually gonna put Pokemon Moon like down here. Okay, but then that feels weird then. Okay, we have to do some shuffling really quickly. I'm gonna put Pokemon Moon. I don't think I would enjoy Pokemon Moon as much as Super Mario RPG or Final Fantasy VII, or Off, or Octopath 2. And I'm probably gonna say the same about Emerald, because they're good games, but I don't hold them in like as high regard as these three. And knowing me today, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say I'm grown out of Pokemon, but I probably prefer other series more. And just for when I played from Emerald, like with the majority of the way through, and then just like the sheer existence of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, like just like I don't want to play these versions anymore. So I feel like I would enjoy Octopath 2 more, and I think I do enjoy Octopath 2 more because its gameplay is a lot better than Pokemon in general. Same with Off, like its story. Same with Final Fantasy V. Same with Mario RPG. So that's my logic here. I think I would enjoy these 4 games more than these 4, but I wouldn't enjoy these games more than these 3. That's my logic. Anyways, we're almost done with the Pokemon here. Sorta. Oh my god. Pokemon Red and Blue. Again, whatever, man. It's kind of a funny thought. Like, I will never understand like the Gen 1er phenomena that was like prevalent when I was growing up with the series, because Gen 1 sucks. It's not good. I don't know, man. It's so buggy. It's friggin' there's something about Gen 1 that just makes me feel like deep kind of like just like anger. Not really anger. I'm just kidding. But it's not something I really enjoy. Like, it's a Game Boy RPG that's really buggy, and it's the first Pokemon game. I'm not making any good arguments here, but like, just have you played Gen 1 recently? Half that shit doesn't work. This game is held together by like duct tape and like hopes and dreams, okay? My latest playthrough of Pokemon Blue, alright? This was a couple months ago, just because I was bored. To even like feel something, because not only is this game like boring, I think that's the good way of saying it. It's boring. This game is really boring. I just like feel something. I wanted to challenge myself and use one Pokemon through the whole game, Blastoise. And like, man, I should have known that would have wiped the whole game, but I did it anyway. And it was still boring. I don't know. The team building in that game is boring. The battles are boring. It's slow. It's easy. I don't know, man. It's not the Pokemon game I would go back to. I think if I ever played Gen 1 again, I would probably play Fire Red and Leaf Green because that actually feels like a real video game. I don't know. I don't like Gen 1 that much. If I'm going to replay a Game Boy Pokemon game, I'm playing Gen 2 or like any other Pokemon game. Like I said, I'll never understand the argument like Gen 1ers, quote unquote Gen 1ers had like all those years ago saying this was the best Pokemon game. Really? This one? This one? Whatever, man. That's why it's in whatever tier. Whatever. I'm sorry. That's probably the last time I'm gonna get negative here, because I think I'm looking at all the other games, and I mostly like them, except for you. Paper Mario Sticker Star is definitely the worst game on this list because it barely qualifies. I mean, like, I played it when I was a kid, and even as a kid, I didn't really like it. I don't think. I got to the final boss, and I was like, I remember I got a game over on the final boss, and then I had to re-get all the stickers, and then I just kind of thought to myself, why am I still playing this? I don't know. It's not really fun to me. Like, I know there's Sticker Star defenders out there, but man, you can run away from every single fight, and it's better for you because you're not wasting stickers. Because there's no XP, there's no leveling system, so why do you need to fight? I don't know, man. It's strange, and I know I'm gonna get probably like one guy, actually probably no guys. I'm not even sure how many people are gonna watch this, but you can say, "Oh, Final Fantasy VIII is the same thing. You don't need to level up in that game. You're encouraged to keep your level down. So you just junction all your best spells to your stats, and then you don't have to level up because leveling up actively like hindrances you from like being stronger." I love Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know. It's different in Final Fantasy VIII, man. It's how do I explain this? I think junctioning is a lot better than Sticker Star because it has a unique sense of resource management to it. And man, you don't have to worry about like leveling up in that game unless you're like an ultra min-maxer. The people who complain about the junctioning system, I swear, are like ultra min-maxers who want to have the most powerful characters at all times. You don't need to do that. You don't need to. I went through that game just playing through the random encounters because want to know why? The random encounters were fun. They were a fun time. And I enjoyed the characters and the party and the junctioning system because I thought it was fun. So I loved it. I think it's less fun if you hold yourself back from leveling up and just like engage in the combat for a little bit. And you could say the same about Sticker Star. But Sticker Star, you just press one button. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. Like, Final Fantasy has like a lot more depth to it, I think. I don't know. I can't explain it very well. But I just love Final Fantasy VIII. I love Squall. I love its story. I think it's like, people say the love story is cheesy. I think it's actually kind of nice because, you know, like, it's going to sound kind of like funny, but I see like a lot of like myself in Squall, or like I feel like a lot of other people find themselves in like Squall, like, you know, kind of like being like an introverted guy because he's not edgy, he's introverted, like he doesn't like talking to people, and I feel like people just kind of write him off as like an edgy guy. I don't know. And the soundtrack, holy shit, this soundtrack is really good. I love Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know if the consensus is still that people don't like it, but I think the junctioning is fine. It's like that image. If you don't like Final Fantasy VIII, you should try again. But yeah, um, I'm sorry. I don't have many good reasons why I like Final Fantasy VIII. I just love it. I think it's great. And then who's next on the chopping block here? Um, I'm actually probably not going to rank Mother 1. Same reasons for Partners in Time and Octopath. I haven't played it enough. But Mother 1 is probably a game I wouldn't like, but I'm not going to rank it anyway. Mm. Let's talk about Superstar Saga. It's pretty solid. It's been a couple years since I played this game. I played it on like the Wii U. And I think it probably goes like right here. I can't say. I'm actually gonna move Octopath down here because I can't say in good faith that it is better than Moon and Emerald before I actually beat it. But I'm gonna put Superstar Saga right here, maybe above Off, because I think it's Mario and Luigi. It's just a fun time. I don't know how many times I can get away with saying, "Oh yeah, the story is really good." But like it's just like it's like all right. It's a decent story. I like Fawful. Like Fawful returning in Bowser's Inside Story was a nice homage to it. Him being the main villain after Cackletta dies. But yeah, I'm not going to say much about Superstar Saga. It's a quality game. It's a fun RPG. Similar in vein to Mario RPG. It's just a good time. Let's talk Platinum. I think it's alright. I never beat it because I always found that Gen 4 was really slow. Like, I don't know, man. I think Gen 4 has this problem where it's like it was their first game on DS and they're still trying to figure it out. So it sort of just feels like a slower version of Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Like, it's hard to explain. But I could never really get into Platinum at all, really. Like, I'd say it's better than Gen 2, but I like Gen 6 more, which is probably a hot take. I don't know. Gen 6 feels like they were able to adapt to the 3DS better than they were able to adapt from the GBA to the DS, if that makes sense. But I don't know. That's just what I'm feeling right now. I don't have many good reasons for it. I'd never beat Platinum the full way through. I got a decent way through it, but I could never really like sit down and get through it. I guess I'm not. I guess I'm not exactly a big fan of Gen 4 because, okay, well, this is probably the remake's fault. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is meh. um. Again, I think it has a lot of the same problems as regular Gen 4, with the added problem of like the decks being awful, like the infamous 2 fire types or whatever. So I was almost like felt like obligated to pick a Chimchar because there's no fire types. I don't know. It's the same problem. I don't have many comments about Gen 4 other than I didn't enjoy them as much as other people seem to. I think Gen 5's better. And I think as our final Pokemon... Oh, no, we have 2 more Pokemon games. Jesus. Let's just knock out Pokemon right out of the park here. Gen 5, like Pokemon Black and White 1. I think they're pretty good. I didn't beat them the full way through, but I think they're all right. I think they're right here. Like, given that I enjoy Black 2 and White 2 so much, I'll probably enjoy Black 1 and White 1. That's my logic. Because I think people often cite it as like the best story. I sort of agree. Yeah, I don't know. I one thing I like about base Black and White is how they forced like the new Pokemon on you. So you really have to like experiment with like new Pokemon that you never used. Because I feel like Pokemon has this kind of like trap where you always want to use your favorites instead of the new Pokemon. So I kind of wish that Pokemon did that more, which is why I think it's better than Emerald and Moon. I actually might even move Moon down here. I don't feel too good about it being all the way up here. No, but that looks awkward now. You know what? It's my list. Screw off. All right, so now we're getting into like the juicy stuff now. So let's talk about FNAF World. It's better. Nah. Listen, I'd rather play. Actually, no. I'd rather play Final Fantasy one than FNAF World. FNAF World. What can I say about FNAF World? Listen, I have a lot of respect for this game. I think it's fantastic in the context of like the FNAF franchise. I think it's a cool subversion from that kind of game because I think when people saw it, it was like, oh, this is FNAF but not scary. How can I play this? This is lame. FNAF World still has horror elements. It's just in a different way. It goes for a more unsettling atmosphere, like with like the Fredbear glitches and stuff, and I think that shit is amazing. Its way of like telling like its story like in this unsettling way, like you're kind of like going through like you're going to places you shouldn't be, and you're seeing things you shouldn't see, and the game is glitching out and it knows that you're seeing it. And I think that's really good. I think it's probably some of the best storytelling that FNAF has, strangely, even though it's been mostly retconned. Like how it explains the FNAF 3 mini games, how it teases sister location. I think that's incredible. As an RPG, I don't think it's that great. You can break the game really easily just by going to the Halloween area, like in the beginning of the game. Even though it's fun, I think that a lot of the Halloween games are pretty good. It breaks the game. And you could argue like, oh, just don't go to the Halloween area. Well, the game is still easy. The game is still really easy. I beat this game on hard mode, man. It wasn't that hard. But I do have a lot of respect for the game. But I just don't think it's that great of an RPG. Alright, now we're messing with the big guns here. Well, we'll leave Pokemon Scarlet for later. But let's talk Deltarune. I think this game is top 3 for me. I think this game has inspired me creatively. Like everything up here is mostly like what inspires me, like creatively or just like in general, like morals, its story. Like these are games that can change you, is what I'm saying. That's what I mean by like my favorites. But like, goddamn, this game. I think, even though it's not even fully complete yet, it's going to be a masterpiece either way. And then, in similar vein, I think Undertale is just right up there, because this is the game I think shaped me and a lot of other people. It inspired me creatively to go into like the field of like work that I am in, like just taught me how to like enjoy things. You know, man, I don't think I can say much about Undertale that hasn't already been said. I think I just have a lot of respect and nostalgia for this game because it's so influential to me. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Undertale's a masterpiece. I will say though, as an RPG, it has the red and blue syndrome of being held together by like duct tape and hopes and dreams. Huh, reference. But I do think that like Final Fantasy 6 and Chrono Trigger I like a lot more, personally. And I think let's talk about Omori. Omori's life changing. I think I like it more than Mother 2, not as much as Mother 3. Omori put me to tears. It broke me and I was sad. I was crying. I was on the floor. There was a wet puddle. That was my tears, and I was in like the fetal position. I was like sad and like crying, and I love this game. I think also it's just a good RPG. The mechanics are fun. The characters are fun. The story is holy shit. And just like, man, I love how I don't have a lot of reasons for where I put them. I think these games It's just like, based on what I feel. It's just good. It's just good, man. And then the final boss, the soundtrack, like, oh my god. And the horror elements of it. I'm not usually a big horror guy, but like Omori, I think that like psychological horror is fantastic. Fantastic. And I think this is probably, other than Undertale, the second best indie RPG. Sorry, Mortis Ghost. I think off gameplay kind of sucks. Anyways, is it Persona time now? I think it's Persona time now. Um, hmm. Let's talk about Innocent Sin. Um, I played the PS1 version. I know the PSP version kind of sucks ass, but I think it's a great RPG. I think it is probably right here in great. Like, there's a lot of flaws with Innocent Sin, even though I do think it was a good starting point for the series, because this is my first Persona game. Um, it's kind of hard to understand like the combat at first, but it's something you really have to get used to. I think my biggest problem with this game is the demon contacting system, because it feels like a lot of guesswork, and that's not really fun. I don't know. Like, there's other games that I have here. This one in particular, which I think demon contacting is a lot better, and I kind of wish that if they ever made Persona 2, they went more like SMT with it. But I think this game's story is fantastic. I think this game's characters are the best out of any Persona game. Asterisk. We'll get to that later, because I think Eternal Punishment has a better cast, actually. Um, its soundtrack is one of the best, but there's just some things that I don't like. It's very easy. It's like, even in the PS1 version, it's really easy. The only time I felt challenged in the game was the final boss, where that was like a huge difficulty spike, and the final area, where that was also a huge difficulty spike. And this is in the PS1 version, by the way. I think PSP version is just easy the whole way through. But I think that's the main thing that holds it back. It's so easy. And it makes the combat feel like mindless and brainless. And I'm not exactly a huge fan of that. But Eternal Punishment is a top 3 RPG. Persona 2 Eternal Punishment takes everything Innocent Sin did and just cranks it up to a million. Actually, I'm going to put it right here. It's definitely a top 5 RPG for me. And I think we're doing this because Deltarune's not finished yet, I'm going to put Eternal Punishment above Deltarune, because the characters are so much better. The music is so good. The what's it called? The combat, the actual RPG combat is so much fun, because the enemies are like, you have to require a lot more strategy. I think I was talking a little bit earlier about like the customization in RPGs and how I think that's a big factor to how much I enjoy them. Persona 2 Innocent Sin has some of the best customization I've ever seen in an RPG, period. Like, the Persona system in this, I think, is the best in the whole series. And I don't think, even though I haven't played 3 and 5 yet, I don't think that's going to change it. Eternal Punishment, it's so good. It's so good. I couldn't believe how good this game was. I couldn't stop playing it when I first played it. I beat it in like 2 weeks. Or a week. And the first thing I wanted to do was go through it all again. Man. I think it's a similar like thing to Final Fantasy 6, where it got really close to replicating that Chrono Trigger feeling, where like it was that sense of magic, the vibes, the music, the characters. This is the best party in Persona, in my opinion. Katsuya or whatever, and then Yulala, and then what's it called, Baofu, and then, oh my god, and how the story concludes. I think this was like the perfect way to top off the original Persona trilogy, like in every way. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love Eternal Punishment. And I guess we're going to talk about some other games. Final Fantasy IV. I didn't beat it, but it's pretty good. I'm going to put it right here. I'll probably like Pokemon Light more. I don't really have much else to say. It's the most like by the numbers Final Fantasy game. Like this game is just pure Final Fantasy. This is the most basic Final Fantasy you can get. It's got the ATB. It's got your like your medieval setting with like technological elements. It's got the crystals. It's got your generic. Oh, you got your paladin. It's got your black mage. You got your monk. This is the most Final Fantasy you can get, and it's all right. That's all I can really say about it. You're gonna have a good time because it's Final Fantasy, but it's also like the most basic Final Fantasy, in my opinion. And then I'm actually not gonna rank Final Fantasy 9 because I want to because I really really enjoy that game, but I'm really early on in it, so I don't think I can rank it. FF7 Remake is pretty fun actually. I didn't think I would like it going in, but it seems I like a lot of games, so I'm gonna put it right here. I think it's a lot of fun. I like seeing the characters interact more. Like the game itself is like gorgeous, and the characters are awesome. I love seeing their personality again. I like seeing them more developed. I like just seeing them interact. Barrett especially, I think, is really good. Like in the regular Final Fantasy VII, he was kind of like he was kind of like flat as a character, but I think Barrett in this game is a lot of fun. I think Tifa. Oh my god, I love Tifa. In this game especially, I think Tifa is really cool. But yeah, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is a good experience, and if you have a PS4, it's probably a must-buy. Another water break really quickly. All right, so we're coming up on the end here. So I think let's talk about this last Pokemon game, Scarlet. And man, I really try to like this game. I think its concept is so good. Like the open world gyms, it can only go at the bottom of all right, in my opinion. I just think this game, man, I really tried to like this game. I gave it a fair shot, but like this game feels super like unpolished. I love the concept of it being like you can do the gyms in any order. I love the open world, but man, you are the highest grossing company with or the highest grossing franchise in the world, man. And the game looks like that. And I'm not usually a graphics guy, man. Final Fantasy VII is gonna go up here, and that game looks like garbage. But like, I don't know, man. And like, I know people say like, oh well, they don't try so much on the games because they care more about the supplemental material, like the animes or the cards, because that makes them more money. Man, everything else is based on the games. The games are at the core of this franchise, and this game is like a buggy, ugly mess of a game. At least the Pokemon designs are cool in this generation. I'll give it another try one day and see if I feel different about it. But right now it's just gonna go all right. So I guess let's wrap up Persona here. Actually, no, let's save those two for last because those are probably the most I have to say about it. Thousand Year Door is good. I got a decent way through this game, and I still enjoy it. It's one of those cursed games where it's like, oh, I really, really like this game. I'm going to put it right here. Or right here. I really, really like this game, but I've never beaten it. I think its combat's really good. I think its story is really good. I think the partner system, it's such a shame it never came back in this kind of way again. Because, like, just the characterization of a lot of these, like, Mario enemies, and just, like, the chapter-by-chapter, like, subplots. It's so good. I love how they incorporate like the crystal stars into each chapter. Like my favorite is definitely chapter 3, like the Glitzville one, where you have to like go through like rounds and stuff, and you slowly uncover like the deep corruption of like that chapter. And man, that's so good. And then like freaking, we're going up to the moon, and the Grubba's there. I think that was one of the coolest moments in the game. But this game is a lot of fun. Okay. So now we're in the big boys here. I have not beaten Terranigma, but I'm just gonna say right now, this is one of the Super Nintendo's best games. Period. Terranigma is like, I don't even explain it. How is this game not more popular? This game is, it's so good. It's okay. Technically, it's not an RPG. It's an action RPG. But I don't care. Terranigma has some of like the best soundtrack, some of the best gameplay of any Super Nintendo game I've ever played. And just like, play it. Play Terranigma. It's so good. I can't believe I haven't beaten it yet. Again, it's kind of like a situation like Final Fantasy V, where I didn't have enough time. I was busy at the time, so I never picked it up again. But I can already tell this is one of those games. Even though I haven't beaten it, I can already tell this is one of those games that is life changing. Like this, I gotta get to it. It's already better than probably Innocent Sin. And then let's talk SMT4. This is actually the game I am playing through most recently, and I think, shit, man, I want to put it in favorites so bad, but I haven't beaten it yet. So I'm going to put it at the very top of great. I think, though, this game has the most fun turn-based combat of any RPG. Other than Chrono Trigger. I think Chrono Trigger is better, but like this game's version of Press Turn is so much fun. Just like, it's so satisfying. You hear everything like click together, and then you get a weak like attack, and then you get like that, and you see you get an extra turn, and like the smirk sound, and then you get to do like 1,000,000 damage. I love this game. I am like more than halfway through it right now, and I'm gonna beat this game so many other times to see the other endings. This is probably one of those situations where it's probably gonna be up here. But yeah, SMT4, some of the most fun combat I've ever had in a game. And yeah, so we have the last two here, Persona 4 and Persona 1. So let's rank Persona 4. It's probably right here. I love Persona 4. At first, I was really worried about going into Modern Persona because I thought like, oh, it's not going to be like the old games, so I might not like it. But thankfully, I love the Modern Persona formula. I think it's amazing. I think it's kind of unfair to compare old Sona and new Sona because they're so wildly different in vibes, gameplay, just everything. But I think Persona 4 is just a fantastic game. It's so much fun. I love the characters so much. The soundtrack is so good. There's one thing I have a complaint about. It's the dungeons. And actually, I'm probably going to move it back here. Because the dungeons are not fun. They're randomly generated mazes. And I feel like they could have had more effort into it. I'm having this kind of like same kind of effect with Tartarus in Persona 3 Reload right now. I'm playing through Persona 3 Reload. It's not on this list, but I wouldn't have ranked it anyway because I'm still really early into the game. But I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, but like uncompleted but played enough to form an opinion is if I got through like halfway through the game. And I think that's when I can say I formed an opinion on it. But like Persona 4, it's a very, very fun game. I think it's great. And you should play it. It's really cheap. I think this is probably the best game to get into the Persona series with, next to 5. It's pretty cheap all the time, and the characters are really fun and lovable. The gameplay is really good. It's pretty easy. So yeah, I like Persona 4. And our last game on the list is Persona 1. Now, this is the most kind of like I would say this is the most decisive Persona game. This is the most I won't say controversial, but it's the most decisive. It's either you really like it or you really don't. And I really like this game, but I also think it's the weakest Persona game, which is saying a lot. How Persona 1, which I think is the weakest, is beating out every single game on like under this. But like I think as a whole, I think this is the weakest Persona game. I think like 2 has the better story and like music and characters and stuff, and then like modern Sona just, of course, it's its own beast. But like I think everything 1 does, 2 does better. Like I don't even care that's first person dungeon crawling. I just think that there's just some problems I have with 1. First of all, the PSP soundtrack is really bad. Well, it's not bad. It just doesn't fit. I did play the PSP version with the PS1 soundtrack mod, because that soundtrack, the soundtrack to the PS1 version of Persona 1 is phenomenal. It's an up here soundtrack. It's one of the best soundtracks in all of like RPGs. But the PSP version is the most accessible version, so a lot of people are forced to listen to it, which is not bad, but the PS1 version is better. The game's really easy. I'm gonna have another water break. The game is really easy, except for the final boss. It's kind of a lot like Innocent Sin, where like it's kind of even worse because it has a system where like it gives the most XP to the characters that did the most during the fight. So what it really ends up doing is just levels, like it over levels one specific character and the rest of your characters left in the dust. I don't like that. But, it's a fun time. I had a good time with it. I did both of the routes. I think the best part of it is it's shit, freaking English. I love it. It's got this like cave story, has a fourth ending ass like different route, which is really cool to me. And just holy shit, I was mind blown, man. And that's just part of the game, and that was originally cut from the freaking American version. I can't believe that. Shouts to Snow Queen Quest. That's one of the best like kind of extra like things in a video game. It's a lot of fun. But that seems to be the whole list here. So I guess I'll upload this to the second channel for like background noise, and also just like for me to cross reference. I hope I worked well as background noise for somebody. So I guess I'll see you later. Bye bye.